Good morning, fam. It's me again with another episode of my life experiences with Yahuah. In this story, I had to make a decision that would determine my destiny. You see, I was married for almost 2 decades. This whole situation started when I was 19 years old, and I was walking on the beach with my girlfriend, and she asked me as we strolled along the shore, what was my greatest fear? And I told her that my greatest fear was being married and having another man father a child with my wife. Then I asked her what was her greatest fear, and she replied, to raise a child without his father, alone. And it was at that moment I looked her in her eyes and I told her that I would never do that to you if we were to marry. And she in return looked in my eyes and told me that I would never have to worry about that if we did get married. Now in hindsight, I realized that we were not the only two on the beach that night, that there was also the enemy and his minions who were listening to the words that we spoke to each other. I had no idea that those very words would be brought to fruition later in my life. You see, I believed that you marry only once in a lifetime, and that you stay with your partner through better or for worse, sickness and health. I truly believe that, and I still do to this day. This is what I didn't understand, is that when Yah created marriage, He created it perfect, without sin. But when sin entered into the world, it also entered into marriage. And this was my dilemma. After I found out that a child was born, and it was not my seed, and we had been married almost 2 decades, I needed to know what the Bible or the scriptures had to say about divorce and remarrying. I want to let you in on a little secret, fam. Something that I learned as I've gone through life. There are 6 questions that you must ask in order to get the complete answer. And I'm going to give it to you, plain and simple. You must ask who, what, where, why, when, and how. Once those questions are answered, you will understand whatever it is that you're looking for. And just for the record, so that you can understand, sometimes you will have to ask these questions more than once, twice, or however many times it takes to get the full understanding. The first thing that I wanted to know in this is how. How did divorce come about? searching the scriptures, I had to go back to the beginning. And the beginning was Deuteronomy, 24th chapter, 1st through the 4th verse. And it reads as follows. When a man takes a wife and marries her, if then she finds no favor in his eyes, because he has found some indecency in her, and he writes her a certificate of divorce and puts it in her hand and sends her out of his house, and she departs out of his house. And if she goes and becomes another man's wife, and the latter man hates her and writes her a certificate of divorce and puts it in her hand and sends her out of his house, or if the latter man dies who took her to be his wife, then her former husband who sent her away may not take her again to be his wife after she has been defiled. For that is an abomination before Yahuah. And you shall not bring sin upon the land that Yahuah, your God, is giving you for an inheritance. It was at this point that I had to ask Yahuah, what in the world does that really mean? And the answer that was given to me, I'm going to give to you now. In those times and in those days, when this law was written by Moses, who received it from Yahuah, the greatest thing that could be done was to marry a virgin. And the reason why they married virgins was because they could ensure the bloodline would be pure. The children of Yasharel were so serious about this that the parents would stand outside of the tent of the newly married couple, and they would gather the sheets afterwards. And if there was no blood, then somebody was lying, and it created a very bad situation. You see, these men were willing to give gold, silver, cattle, even land, so that they could purchase a virgin, because their seed is who they wanted to inherit everything that they had worked and fought for as men. And when I dropped down and read Deuteronomy 24 and 5, when a man is newly married, he shall not go out with the army or be liable for any other public duty. He shall be free at home 1 year to be happy with his wife, whom he is taken. In other words, to start his family. That's how important marriage was. As I continue my investigation, Isaiah spoke of a time when Yahuah divorced the northern kingdom, which were the 10 tribes of Israel. In Isaiah, the 50th chapter, in the 1st verse, it reads, "Thus saith Yahuah, where is the certificate of your mother's divorce, whom I have put away?" And then in Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter, the 6th to the 10th verse, Yahuah says this, The Lord said also to me in the days of Josiah the king, have you seen what backsliding Israel has done? She has gone up on every mountain, every high mountain, and under every green tree, and there played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, return to me. But she did not return. And her treacherous sister Judah saw it. Then I saw that for all the causes for which backsliding Israel had committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a certificate of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah did not fear, but went and played the harlot also. So it came to pass through her casual harlotry that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and trees. And yet for all of her treacherous, sister Judah has not turned to me with her whole heart, but in pretense, saith Yahuah. Now I was learning from these scriptures that Yahuah has certain guidelines that have to be met before you can divorce. So I was looking at the examples that were given and how they were given and who they were given to in order to understand the true purpose and meaning of a divorce. Now this was the kicker for me. I'd heard a lot of people speaking and saying that Jesus was against divorce, which I agree it was not supposed to be so until sin came in. And there's this interesting verses that I was reading, Matthew, the 19th chapter, 3rd through the 9th verse. And it reads as follows. The Pharisees also came to him, testing him and saying to him, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason? And he answered and said to them, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So then, they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what Yahuah has joined together, let no man separate. They said to him, well, why then did Moses command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away? He said to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permitted you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery. And whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery. And after reading this scripture, I understood it to mean exactly what it said, that the only grounds for divorce that is acceptable to Yahuah is sexual immorality. And it was at that time that I filed for divorce under the grounds of adultery. Well, fam, we will continue this part 2 lesson on next week. And don't forget to check out the songs and my book.